If you don't show up, the magic can't happen. I had a special experience this morning. It was super cool. And I didn't know that it was going to happen. Did not know that it was going to happen. In fact, I couldn't sleep this morning. I got up out of bed at about 4:43 or something like that. And I jumped on my computer and I went through my morning routine of answering questions about my day. What's going on? Couldn't sleep. And then I'm like, you know what? I finished that. It's about 5:30 or something. And I go back to bed. And I did some meditation in bed. Bit of napping, bit of napitation, I believe it's called. Definitely passed out. I set the intention. I was like, dear God, please allow this meditation to put me to sleep. So meditating, and then I pass out, and my son comes to the door and he's like, Dad, let's go. We'll go surfing. But the waves have not been very good here. Not very good. But we went anyway. We head down and we checked out Broken Head. Not very many waves there, like maybe a half a foot. Then we went to Talos, which is about a 10-minute drive up the beach. And it's enough to go, let's go. There's not many people out. Maybe, I don't know, maybe 15 guys out. And I'm not that great at surfing. I'm getting better. I'm definitely getting better. Like, there's no doubt that when I look up on the takeoff, so I'm paddling, feel the wave, look up and pop and trust that my feet will land. I did great. I did one this morning where I'm paddle. I look down and fell over. I'm like, look up. And it takes a while. It's taken a reprogramming of myself. This is the second major reprogram that I've had to go through around surfing. The first one was back knee was going down, never going to work beyond the most gentle waves. So I got called on that maybe 3 years ago. They're like, your back knee's going down, you need to fix it. And so I've been working on the pop, coming up to 2 feet, but never really quite got it. Definitely got it occasionally, but did not know what the missing piece was. And that was that I have to look up and allow the feet to land where they land without me looking. And this takes trust, and it takes a reprogramming of what I was previously doing. And so I had the first one, I looked up and I landed. Second one, looked down, fell off. Third one, I landed. And then the fourth one, I head back out. And the waves are rolling in, the sun's come up, and I'm looking down. You can see all the way down Suffolk Park through to Broken Head. It's stunningly beautiful. And as one of the waves drops, I see this shape leaping through the air. Must have been 100 meters out, and it was a whale in full breach, like all the way out. I was just like, whoa, did you see that? I don't think I've ever seen that before. And it was just cool because I wasn't looking for the whale. It just fit into my reality and just like mid-air whale. And I was like, oh my goodness, wow. And then they were out there, and there's a lot of them. There's a lot of whales. I was like, oh, is it just like 2 or 3? There's like whales everywhere out there. And so what I thought was going to be a pretty mediocre surf session, small waves, suddenly transformed into this whole different experience. Just mesmerizing, watching them put their fins up in the air, their tails up in the air. It's just like, ooh. And what came to me in that moment was, well, look at this. Look at this outcome that I'm experiencing by being able to watch this large number of whales go by. I don't know how many were. It looked like there was a lot of them out there. And it wasn't so many years ago that there wasn't that many whales. But we started protecting them and looking after them and stopping the hunting or whatever was going on. I don't know. This must have been, 30 odd years ago that all of this stopped. But now the numbers are way up. And these majestic, magic animals that I had no idea were there suddenly transformed that relatively mediocre surf session into something special. But that wouldn't have happened if my son didn't come and say, let's go. Because even though we ended up surfing, I could have just gone and done something else fitness-wise. I got an exercise bike, jump on that. Sometimes I just walk the dog. I'm working on my flexibility. But the idea is to do something related to my body every day. Every day. If it's a Monday, if it's a Tuesday, it's a Wednesday, a Thursday, a Friday, a Saturday, or a Sunday, do something around my body every day. Every day. And this is challenging. Because at some point I was like, man, this is so annoying. When midnight comes, everything resets and I'm left with the choice to go again the next day. But I realized that the habitual exercising, doing something, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, training, whatever it is. Tomorrow I've got the gym. I'm lifting weights, which I'm excited for. That by doing something with my body every day, that this leads to change in my body. If I don't do this, then I get consequences. And much like the whales 30 years ago, didn't look like that change was going to do too much. A year later, maybe there's one more whale. 5 years later, maybe there's 12 more whales. But 30 years later, there's just this stream of whales going by. And this is the same choice that I face, except that it's not a, hey, we're going to stop hunting the whales and stopping doing something. This is, I'm going to do something and I'm going to exercise every day. So some things in life will be, hey, I need to stop. Need to stop eating McDonald's, need to stop eating the donuts, need to stop having the 5 cups of coffee. And some things I need to start. I need to start doing some flexibility training. I need to start seeing massage therapist or chiro or osteo or someone acupuncture, someone to work on my body, physiotherapy. I need to invest into that. And some things are sustained. Keep doing what's working. And so this conversation is a very interesting one because any particular day does not make much difference. But in the long term, it does. In 5 years time, hopefully I'm still here, may not be, that's a different conversation, but let's say I am in 5 years time and I look back at the past and I go, gee, I am so glad that I made the decision to train every day, to do something, to go for a walk. Whatever it was, doesn't have to be some epic 2-hour Ironman workout. That's not what I'm talking about, but I am talking about doing something every day. And then the habit becomes established. And the momentum for doing it the next day builds and builds and builds. But here's the crazy thing. Looking after my body is only one part of the requirement. Only one part of the requirement for living a full life. You see, there are other components as well. So we've got one component, which is body, but we've got another, which is around being, around my mind, around my spirituality. Why am I here? What's the purpose of this whole thing? And bringing in ideas around meditation or prayer, or what questions do I ask myself in the morning to clarify my mind, or if something happens and I feel angry or I feel sad or I feel fear or even I feel happy, like how do I leverage the happiness? How do I deal with the fear, with the anger, with the sadness? What are my processes for doing that? Oh, I am feeling very sad. Something terrible happened. Okay, how am I going to move through that? Seen people just get stuck for years in sadness, guilt and shame. And they go to therapists, but having something on demand that's separate from a therapist session is very powerful, very useful. And if I'm in the discipline of doing it every day, then it means when something happens, I've got experience, I've got reps. It's a lot like studying. I don't know whether you had this experience. I'd been working for a while before I came to my GP exams. And the initial 5 weeks or so, it was rough. It was like these rusted wheels of my mind having to recalibrate to study and memorization and learning and application. And it's much the same now after exams. How do I manage myself? Because life has challenges. We are entering into an extremely challenging period. It's here. It's on. Working with my sister at the moment, she's like, well, I just caught up with one of our friends. They were like, you know what you should do? You should do AI counseling. I'm like, whoa. But here's the thing. I've already experienced AI counseling with the ChatGPT. I don't know if you know this, but you can say, hey, I want you to act as a counselor using cognitive behavior therapy and ask me questions one at a time. And you can have a conversation with ChatGPT, which is pretty insane. And some of the new voice stuff that Google's just bringing out, it is insane. It sounds like a normal human being with pauses, with breath. And it's got these two AI voices having a conversation. It's like, oh man, that really is pretty close. That's not causing a lot of and if I didn't know that it was AI, I'm probably not going to pick it. So it's potential that you'll be able to pick up the phone or pick up the app and talk with an AI therapist. But if you haven't done it in a while, it might get you results. But if you do it every day, guess what? You're going to clarify a lot of the issues in your life before they become massive problems. And if you do happen to run into a situation that is a massive problem, then you've got reps and you're like, I know how to deal with this. And suddenly the mindset that you have is no longer to fear life, to fear events. I'm reading a cool book. Where's my book? Yeah. Let me bring it up for you. Where is it gone? Where has it gone? Here we go. Obstacle is the way. Obstacle is the way. The timeless art of turning trials into triumph. Trials into triumph. Very interesting concept. You see, it means that you no longer have to fear the difficulties in life. It spoke of a boxer, black boxer in the 60s. And he's doing really well. He's winning his fights. And then he's accused and convicted of 3 homicides that he didn't do. And he goes into prison. He's like, I didn't do this. I'm not a prisoner. And refused to act like a prisoner at any point in that entire journey. Went on a 19-year legal battle that he did himself by studying in the jail. Refused to put on the clothes by all accounts. They're like, put on the clothes. He's like, no, I'm not a prisoner. And even though he found himself in this situation of being wrongly jailed, he did not see it as something that was a bad thing. It wasn't a good thing. It wasn't a bad thing. It just what was. But he refused to accept that that was the situation that was going to limit him or confine him. And instead he said, you know what? I'm going to go to work. I'm going to study the law. I'm going to fight this. And 19 years later, he was acquitted. And here's what's really interesting to me. Went straight back to his life. Didn't sue for damages, didn't seek compensation, didn't make anything. He's just like, that happened, I'm moving on. I'm back out. Great. What's happening today? And this mindset, incredible. So we've got body, we've got being, we've got balance, the people that we care about. Bringing balance to our lives as doctors. You may be working very hard, long hours, lots of responsibility, lots of decision making that comes to you with your knowledge, with your skills, with your diagnostics, with your management, with your discussion, with your ability to present different realities that will evolve for that patient depending on what their choices are. This is a lot. The weight of being a doctor is heavy. And so it's got to have some benefits for your world, rather than just always pouring out into your patients. You will empty your cup. But those that make a difference in your world, your spouse, your parents, your kids, if you have them, your siblings, your team, the other doctors, the nurses, the receptionists, the practice team, the admin staff, all of these people that make up your world, your friends. How much goes into them? How much comes back to you? I got a text from my wife today saying, hey, thank you. Thank you, Tom. Thank you for all that you do. I'm like, thank you, Em. That was awesome to receive. Thank you. It really helps. And then finally, our skill sets around what do we do every day? Our medical skills, our diagnostic skills, our self-care skills, our understanding of the human body, of the human mind, how it works. Perhaps it's time to go back to anatomy, review your pathology. Perhaps it's a disease that you need to learn more about. Go and study that. And yes, this will be handled in your CPD, but if you do it every day, then you will cover this. And you'll get to even 10 minutes a day. It's not that much. But 10 minutes a day of studying medicine, at the end of the year, do it every day, 3,650 minutes. Right around, I think, 70 hours of study that's been done during the year that wouldn't have been done, but was done by taking a simple step every day, a simple commitment, a simple habit. 10 minutes, 10 minutes, 10 minutes, 10 minutes, study, study, study. Right now, I'm on this one. Why? Because life's hard. Life's challenging. I got 3 kids. Responsibility. Leading you guys. Opening your minds up to these ideas of how to live, how to have an operating system for being a doctor. So that's all I got for you today. I hope you took some value out of this. And let's go back to the whales. And remember that 30 years ago, there was a decision to stop hunting the whales. And today, there's a constant stream that this has led to an abundance of these beautiful, amazing creatures. And it transformed a regular surf into a magical surf. So if you're down here in Byron Bay, come and check it out. If you're coming up, come and check it out. The whales are very special. All right. Look forward to seeing you on a future live very soon. Catch you then.